I am Mr. Richard, the CEO of Richard & Co. Limited, a petroleum company. Even though we have not yet made it to the top 100 companies in the world, we are quite a giant in my local community. At the age of 30, I employ a workforce of over 300 and own private property with worth over 2 billion. Considering these achievements of mine, I thought I had already arrived. One Monday morning, after our usual get-together meetings in which I send my assistant to address the workers, while I take a sip of coffee in my office expecting his feedback, I decided to use the restroom. To my great dissatisfaction, my private restroom had a plumbing problem, for which I immediately scolded my secretary for not noticing and instructed her to call a plumber immediately. Given that nature is no respecter of persons, I decided to lower myself and to use the men's general toilet. It was at that moment that I had an epiphany. After entering one of the toilets, two workers came out of theirs and began to talk about me. I expected them to talk about how much they admired a young achiever like me, but rather heard them bad-mouthing me. They complained how I felt too big to even address them during the morning meetings and only had their time either when I wanted to scold them or during the end-of-year parties. They complained how I took credit for the company's growth as if it was only a result of my efforts and not our joint efforts. At this point, one of them rebuked the other for saying such things about me, whereas he was all smiles in front of me. The other then explained that he smiled outwardly, but inward he felt like choking me. This farce of him was just meant to be on my good side and for me to favor him. I was so infuriated. What about me could make them despise me? How could they be such pretenders around me? I mean, even if I do not always respond to them when they speak, or even if I always scold them for their work not well done, it is all within reason. First, it is their right to ask questions, and it is my right to refuse to answer. Simple. Also, I pay them to do their job. When they do not do it the way I want, it is just normal for me to scold them. If they do not like it, they can leave. So I thought as I bashed out of that toilet. When the two saw me, they looked as if they had seen a ghost, especially the one who led the conversation. He literally peed in his pants. With a haughty look, I told them, by noon, see my secretary to receive your letters. I guess you already know that I was referring to their letters of dismissal. Call me harsh, but that is the world to you. Although I had already decided to show them my power by dismissing them, I was still pissed at what I had heard, royally pissed. Where else would a man get comfort in such a time if not at home? Though I was not yet married, I had a fiancée. Without informing her, I drove to her house. Bianca always had a way with words. She said the right thing at the right time, sweet words, compliments, praise, words of encouragement, and so on. I just needed to hear her speak to cool off that anger that was spreading even in my kidney. As I entered her living room, whose door was open, I realized that she was on the phone with her headphones. No wonder she hadn't come to welcome me, as she probably did not hear me when I drove into her garage. You see, I had already gotten used to such royal treatment from her. After buying her this house, it had become a second home for me. She welcomed me whenever I came back and served me delicious meals and listened to whatever I had to say. In fact, this lady is so humble that when I asked her to stop working so that she can be available whenever I wanted her, she did. Where else would one find such an angel? Anyway, back to the story. Where was I? Oh yeah, with her back facing me, I tiptoed to give her a surprise hug until I heard her conversation. She was probably speaking to a male and it went thus. Oh, you mean that foolish Richard? Haha, darling, be patient please. Just give me a few more weeks. We are currently preparing for the wedding and he is so busy to attend to the details. So I'm in charge. Whenever I ask for money to handle one issue or the other, he just issues a check. Such a foolish man. Wait till I milk him dry. On that day, he will only come and meet a ghost to marry, because certainly I won't marry a he-goat like him. You know when you hear something and you wish you could unhear it, but it is impossible? That is how I felt. Before she ended her call, I screamed in disbelief of the situation. All this while, the woman I trusted and lavished with my hard-earned money was not only cheating on me but was engaged to me for my wealth with the intention to dump me on the wedding day. A whole me? I didn't even know which was worse, planning to dump me, cheating on me, or going out with me for my money. What do you think? As I furiously expressed my disappointment in her at that moment, I expected that at least she would go on her knees and ask for forgiveness. Even if it wasn't sincere, I was willing to hear more of her sweet words, even if at that moment they would probably just be words of deception. However, Bianca did not only refuse to pretend to be sorry, she began to scold me. She called me names, saying I was a proud man who cared about nobody but himself. How could I expect any normal woman to love me when I was so disrespectful, rude, and selfish? She claimed all what I gave her was to feed my ego, make her obedient to me, and not out of my sincere love for her. I had heard enough of her words as they were like salt on my wounds, and so I stormed out of her house. On my way back to the office, I could only ask questions of why women could be so wicked. Why would someone treat a good person like me that way? How could I be so stupid, someone as smart as me? Thank goodness she did not know any of my account passwords, because who knows whether I would already be a pauper by now. It was in the midst of all these thoughts that I lost sight of the road and got into an accident. After waking up from a 1-week coma, I spent the next 3 weeks recovering in the hospital. The only people who visited me were my parents and junior brother. None of my so-called friends came over. Some called in the first week and some sent custom get well messages. Not even hypocritical Bianca passed by. These 3 weeks were not just for recovery but for reflection. I understood how most people around me had been pretending all along, but it was not all their fault. It was also mine. I did not treat them sincerely, and so in return, they didn't treat me sincerely too. Because of my achievements, I treated them like slaves, people unworthy of being in my presence. In return, they treated me like a hateful taxmaster, someone they wanted to backbite. As for Bianca, I cared mostly about how she could satisfy me more than how I could satisfy her. Asking her to stop working, buying her that house were all my plots to control her. Hence she turned back and took advantage. It was my fault. It was my fault. What can I do now? If I cannot change how they treat me, at least I can change how I treat them. Yes, I will start with myself. Self-change. Lord help me. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you learned a lesson or two. And if you like this story, please subscribe to Inspiring Stories TV so that you can receive more of interesting stories like this. And before you go, please, I need a piece of advice from you. What do you think I should do with Bianca? Should I forgive her or should I let her go? Please drop in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and see you in the next one.